I'm in a very fortunate situation in that I get to test and ride some really special motorcycles. One such motorcycle I got to ride last year was the BMW M1000R, also known as the BMW Roadster. Now we all know when BMW puts that M symbol on anything, whether it's 4 wheels or 2 wheels, it's something really special and pretty much a beast. Now BMW Motorrad preferred using the symbols HP for high performance. They had a high performance HP2 Sport, they had a HP4, then came an HP Race, but from 2021 they produced the very first production motorcycle using the symbol M. Now here behind me is just that motorcycle, the BMW M1000RR, or also known as the MRR. Now this is where the M story started for BMW Motorrad, so I wanted to take this beast out, take it, ride it, test it, review it, look at the specs, and that's what we're going to do in this episode. Now, first introduced in 2018, BMW offered the M optional equipment, also known as the performance parts in the M parts. Now, the first BMW production bike launched was this 2021, the M1000RR, and this is based on the S1000RR. Now, there are many changes which are skin deep below there in the engine and suspension and stuff like that. But visually cosmetic, the biggest difference to the S was these winglets. The S in the day 2021-22 had no winglets, and this MRR had winglets. Now the winglets were not just cosmetic, they were there for better braking, anti-wheeling, also downforce, more stability in front at top speeds, and it gave you more than 10 kilos downforce after 160 and 200 kilometers per hour. Now, these winglets were also developed in the wind tunnels, but more about that later. Now, this bike is not just one of those collector's pieces like the very fancy Ducatis that are numbered that would stand in someone's collection. This M1000RR was actually produced for, if you want to call it, the privateer races around the world. So much has been done internally in the motor and everything that this is a race bike for those guys that love track days, love taking their bikes out onto the track. So this is the target market for this M1000RR. I'm going to start with the specs on the motor. Again, as mentioned before, the motor is derived off the S1000. It is the 999cc 4-stroke inline 4 double overhead cam, liquid cooled. However, it has things like titanium valves, it's the shift cam. So the power is up on this motor versus the standard S. You're talking 205 horsepower on the back wheels, which is about 155 kilowatts at 14,500 RPMs. Yes, this motor now revs in the M version above 15,000 RPM. I think it's 15,100. And the torque on this motor is 113 Newton meters at 11,000 RPM. It's a wet multi-plate slipper clutch, oil bath, final drive chain, 6-speed gearbox. When we go to the suspension, up front you see you have the upside down Marzocchi's 45mm. The travel is 120mm, and it is a fully adjustable semi-active. They have moved away from the fully active suspension up here, as you can see. Going to the back, you have a monoshock Marzocchi fully adjustable 117mm semi-active as well. Going to the brakes, At the back, single disc, 220mm, 2-piston caliper, ABS. Going to the front, you have dual disc up front, 2x3 20mm disc, 4-piston calipers. As you can see, it's the performance M brakes, monoblocks, also ABS up front. Now the wheels, if you look here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, these are carbon wheels, front and rear, and they're both 17-inch wheels, M carbon wheels, shod with a 120 in front and a 200 at the back. And this is where the interesting part comes as well, weight saving, quite a bit down on the standard S version. Dry weight 170 kilos, wet weight 192 kilos. So you have over 205 horsepower at the back, under 200 kilos. Power to weight ratio, awesome. 833mm seat height, and fuel capacity is 16.5 liters. And as you can see, truckloads of carbon, winglets, front mud guard, around the airbox, around the petrol tank, heel guards, rear hugger. So an abundance of carbon used. The exhaust I missed out is a full titanium exhaust, acropovic to the back with a carbon end pipe. Titanium, again, weight saving. Everything about this bike is race ready, weight saving, more power. Now just to talk about a few of the changes inside the motor that are skin deep, that you cannot see. The S versus the M motor on the RR, you got more peak power, 4 kilowatt extra. You got more torque in the medium range. The motor revs another 500 RPM higher. Each piston is 12 kilograms lighter, forged pistons, slimmer, lighter rocker arms in the motor, and titanium exhaust valves. Those are just some of the things where they change the internals of the motor to give you more power, make it lighter, make all the spinning parts move a whole lot faster. And that's why I mentioned at the beginning, the target market, this is not just an ornament, this motorcycle. This is to be enjoyed by the privateer racer or the guys that enjoy and love their track days and want to have something really special. Now when we look at the electronic suite of this bike, it's unbelievable. I mean, you got the wheelie control, the anti-wheelie control, the BMW DTC traction control, you've got ABS Pro, then you got rider modes like Rain, Road, Dynamic, you have Race, then you have Race Pro 1, 2 and 3 modes. With that you have the ABS Pro in Rain, Road, Dynamic, and no ABS Pro in Race 1, 2 and 3. You've got a pit lane limiter, you've got hill start control. If you look at all the extras of this bike, you got the M calipers, all the carbon here, front hugger, winglets, your wheels are carbon all around here, carbon around the tank, even these little inserts, your heel guards, your hugger, your acropovic pipe on the back. So stunning, stunning, stunning. The TFT is 6.5 inch. If you go to the front and have a look at that, your standard BMW, so if you know the GS rider or whatever, the graphics come up with M, so when you start it up you know you're on something pretty exclusive. This is pretty much a standard layout, but if you want to ride sport, we all know how to use this menu. There you go, that is a very racy looking dash. What I mentioned with, if we know the BMW and that wheel, you feel right at home. Now this 6.5 inch full color TFT is connected to M GPS data logger, M GPS lap trigger, everything is here. Lots of carbon, even the machined knurled bits here, fully adjustable. If you look at these guards here, these anti-crash levers, the shorty levers, adjustable, super cool. Everything is thought of on this motorcycle. Colors, you have the light white with the light blue, dark blue and red. Interestingly, on this color scheme, if you remember, the original S1000 had the asymmetrical headlight look, the round one and that angular one that side. Symmetrical look about the lights now. However, you kept the asymmetrical when it comes to the color scheme. If you have a look, the blue here, the red there, then it switched over, red there, blue there. So I think it's very cool. It stays with the asymmetrical look. Not everybody's cup of tea. I've heard some guys that don't like it so much. I really like it. You also get the black one, and with the competition package you get the M billet parts, M carbon package, the lighter swing arm, 220 grams lighter, the lighter chain, lighter lithium battery, and that tail tidy, the hump over the pillion seat. Now as you can see, with everything thrown at this motorcycle internally, cosmetically, it's definitely not out of place being in somebody's gallery or standing as an ornament in a collection. However, you can also see it is the perfect track toy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump on the bike and go for a ride. I'm going to take her on the highway, go through a little bit of traffic, because with that shift cam motor, the usability, the lower range, it should be quite a versatile and user-friendly motor, even though here she looks like a total track weapon. So before I jump on and go for the ride, I'm going to just do a sound check, fire her up. As you can see, stunning sound straight out the box. Yes, the motor was warmed up. I don't rev cold engines like that. So join me for the ride. So just to get going, if you have a look, my foot is flat, knee is bent, other side, foot is flat, knee is bent. I am super comfortable. Bike is very slim over here. The seat is hard. Suspension is quite hard. If I switch it on, the cockpit, the controls, very BMW. I mean, I ride a GS, looks identical. When that M logo comes up, that's the only difference visually. You know you're on something exclusive. That layout is very much like the S, the GS's and all the other bikes. If you just flick that menu button down twice, you go to the sports screen, and I must say I really like that layout. So you can see the race mode, neutral, the gear, everything is there, all your lean angles, your traction control. So let's go for that ride. Very rideable even in race mode as I have it here. I mean, this is not a bike I want to really test in normal road or rain or dynamic mode. This is an M, so you really want to play with it. I'm just testing it here on back roads, looking for some traffic, but immediately you do feel you're on something purpose built. Everything is quite firm. If we talk about the gear lever at the bottom, you actually need a very firm boot. Even these potholes, really bad roads, you can feel the suspension is very tight for this. The gear lever, I would use a harder boot or something with a cap or protection, because it is a firm feel up and down. Positive shifting. The clutch lever, brake levers, stunning. The clutch lever has got a very firm feel about it, but obviously you have all the quick shifters and all of that. The brakes as well, 2-finger braking. It's a firm feel, it's progressive, but it's proper stoppers on this motorcycle. I must say I'm a big fan of this dash layout. Looks very racy, looks modern. It's a big TFT, you don't have to lean forward. Everything on that TFT with the colors, you can clearly see whether it's lights or neutral or going into red range, something wrong with the bike, lights up in yellow or red. So easily identifiable, easy to read. You don't have to lean forward like some other bikes I've tested. You can see commuting, even in race mode as I have it here. It is very manageable to pull off gently, and when you roll on the throttle, the power builds. So in the lower revs, it's not like it dips, it feels very linear, the power. If I'm here at 4,000 and I roll on, it doesn't dip, it pulls out smoothly. But man, does it pull. It really starts pulling, and if you look at that graph on the power curve, it does climb, and it exponentially just grows and builds in power. It's fantastic, it's exhilarating, it draws you in. When you're on it, you just want to roll on that lever and just have some fun. We're going to come back in this traffic just now, do some lane splitting, but I want to try some open road as well. This is where this bike will shine. But definitely a bike that if you own it, this you will take to the track, and that's where you'll have heaps of fun on it. Just as strong as it is and accelerates, you have that same confidence in the brakes. So if I stomp on them, I know I've got ABS, I've got ABS Pro. This thing is everything, lean, angle sensitive. It has everything for you to look after you. So not scary in any way. The clutch feels good, very controllable. If you do want to overtake, you can clearly see it does happen in a hurry. You don't have to downshift. There's plenty torque, there's plenty power on tap. So riding it in traffic, commuting in it, it's pretty much like an automatic. You just hook it in top gear, plenty power for every maneuver. Here you see again on the pull-off, gentle pull-off, absolutely no problem. It's not a wild bucking Bronco. That's only if you induce it. The suspension definitely extremely firm, but that is because it is a track weapon. Quick shifter works well, a little bit notchy in lower RPMs, but as you build the RPMs, smooth as silk. Here we go. Within seconds, you don't get to speeding fine territory, you actually get to jail territory. This is where they lock you up. It's fantastic how everything works in harmony. It's, well, when you see that letter M, you know it's special, but it still surprises you. And it's fantastic how everything works in harmony. Everything's solid, everything is functional. This awakens your adrenal glands, starts pumping the adrenaline through your body. It's not a bike I would recommend for novices, even though there's enough electronics on a bike like this to save you. Oh, however, the temptation of rolling it on and just twisting the throttle is just too much. It's too much. It is a bike that's definitely a weekend warrior, open roads, and purpose built for the track. You will love this thing on the track. You can set it up to your riding style. There's so many adjustments here, from traction settings, ABS settings, rider mode settings, even the Race Pros 1, 2 and 3 modes. You can really play around and get it where you feel comfortable, and as your skills improve, you can just detune the intrusive rider aids, less intrusive and so forth. But what a package, what a bike, solid, nothing's rattling, nothing's shaking. It is an extremely well built motorcycle. This is BMW Germany, BMW Motorrad. Not even this double bubble screen here is bobbing around or shaking, nothing. Firm, solid, overall, oh, what can I say, beyond stunning. It just looks so finished. Even love the detail of the black triple clamp. You even see the machining marks from the billet machining. You look down, you just see opulence of carbon fiber all around. You don't see any loose wiring or anything. It's fantastic. I must say, even the ergonomics of sitting on this motorbike, as I started, my feet are flat on the floor, my knees are bent, I'm in control of it, I'm not tippy-toed, I am in charge of this motorbike. The tank is not too big that I'm leaned forward and I get fatigued in the lower back, or I get wrist or forearm pump hanging on my wrists in front. Being a bit cheeky here. What a wonderful motorcycle. It actually feels light, nimble. I can weave in and out. It's pointy. You know where you're going. So all round, the tank is not a long tank that you feel like you're leaning forward overly and getting fatigued. It's a bike, I mean, you have cruise control. You have cruise control over here. So cruise control on an M super bike. That tells you that ergonomically it's a well thought out bike. So So once you get up to speeds and you're doing, like I'm doing 80 now, 82, the combination of suspension and seat works brilliantly. When you're standing still and you swing your leg over the bike, you first feel, wow, the suspension is really firm and the seat is virtually like a hard plank. But it is superbike style, it's sport bike, and you just get enough feedback just on the road here. You know what the back's doing. You get to know when you're just accelerating a little bit too much and there's slip coming through. It's not loose in front, it's stable, it's just fantastic. The bike tracks beautifully. The temptation is just always there to keep rolling on, keep that throttle open. That's why it's something you can't ride every day because you'll get yourself into trouble. It's something that you have as a toy that you respect and have a lot of fun with. So as you can see up ahead, there are clearly some issues on the highway, but this is the perfect opportunity to test this motorcycle for day-to-day use when it comes to traffic and lane splitting. It's definitely narrower than the M Roadster, the M1000R. The single R is the naked version, the hyper naked if you want to call it, or as they call it, the M Roadster. That has quite wide handlebars with rear view mirrors on the end of the handlebars, but it still works for day-to-day use. You sit more upright on that bike. This is more a purpose built. When you swing your leg over, you know you are in sport mode. You are in the office. But as you can see, you can throw it left to right, weave in and out of traffic, even at slower speeds, very steady and stable. I am so impressed. That shift cam motor is wonderful. It's not too weak or dips in the power curve at lower revs that it drops off power and then suddenly keeps going. It has a great feel about it. It's, let's call it gentle and very manageable at lower RPMs, and just progressively linear, grows in power to the point of insanity. As you saw the quick shifter, you don't even know when I'm changing. You have to actually look at the RPMs. It's brilliant. The wind protection when I tuck in is brilliant. There's no buffeting on my arms, elbows. It sounds like I'm raving about this motorcycle on all levels. I think I am. I wouldn't know where to fault this bike. I suppose if you take it onto a track, you would have some gripes that you would need to change and dial in depending on your level of skill. But I do think 99.9% of us out there, mere mortals, riding a bike like this, which with this much capability, this bike will far outperform any of us. It's really not a bike that most of us will even get near to its limits. But it does make you feel like a World Superbike superstar. And yeah, dream garage. This would be something to put into my dream garage. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this ride review of the very first M production motorcycle by BMW Motorrad. I think something very exquisite, exclusive. It is both a collector's item as well as a day-to-day bike and track weapon. If you enjoyed this episode, guys, please remember, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, and please guys, most important, help me build the channel by clicking the subscribe button, and if you like, the reminder bell so you always know when I'm uploading something new.